The ever-growing conflict between nature versus nurture, or vice versa. It's Topic Tuesday, everyone. What's up, Universe, and welcome back to the web's first must-see comic and nerd culture show. Welcome to Comic Universe, guys. I'm your host, as always, CDubbs, guys, and I'm riding solo on this video. And guys, today is Topic Tuesday, and today's topic is the age-old question, nature versus nurture. But more specifically, with Halloween just behind us, we're going to dive deep into and take a little bit closer look at the two Halloween franchises, if you will, the reboot and the original. Okay, we're going to ignore all the, if you will, the Curse of Thorn and all that jazz. We're strictly talking the first two movies, Rob Zombie's and John Carpenter's, if you will. But we're going to kind of dive in and look at the pros and cons to both sides. We're going to just kind of talk a little bit about which is more scary, if you will. Not necessarily the movie in general, just the maniac, if you will, nature or nurture. Now, if you guys are wondering what the heck I'm rambling on about, so if you've ever seen, and if you haven't, shame on you, the 1978 classic, John Carpenter's classic, Halloween, obviously, starring the Shape, Michael Myers, and Jamie Lee Curtis, respectively. That is a movie that Michael Myers is a complete anomaly, if you will. Not much is known of the monster, the man behind the mask, if you will. He is essentially just nothing more than a shape, a shadow, a vessel for evil, you know? We don't get any explanation from John Carpenter as to who, what, why, and where. We may get the who knowing that his name is Michael Myers, but we know nothing else. We don't know what set him off. We don't know why he did the things he did. All we know is that behind those glossed over eyes is pure madness and pure evil. As Loomis told us, Dr. Loomis advised us, he says he's seen many, many people in his life. He's never seen such madness and darkness and evil and disdain as he sees coming out of Michael Myers. And with those movies, you get this focused storm. He just goes through and causes mayhem. He causes death and destruction wherever he goes. You point him in this direction and he just goes. And he just doesn't stop. And there's seemingly no rhyme or reason, or is there? I know I said we were just really going to focus on the first two movies, but we're going to expand just a little bit. With the John Carpenter's version, he has been shown to not kill cats, and he has been shown to kind of ease away from babies, if you will. So there's something ticking in his head, if you will. He's not just pure madness in that regard. There's something there, and that intrigues me, I must say. It makes you want to dive deeper into his mind and figure out what made him tick. Why did he choose Jamie Lee Curtis? Because again, before part 2, we never knew that she was his sister. And in addition to that, that's been retconned now. So again, I go back to what made him choose her. Why did he continuously go after her? In the beginning of the movie, when the girls are walking down the street and he's driving, which, again, it's questionable on how he even knew how to do that. They yelled at him. She wasn't one of the ones that yelled at him, if you will. But yet he still single-handedly picked her. And you can't say because he was drawn to her because it was his family. Well, because, again, that's been retconned, so we can't use that as the crutch there. What caused this hurricane, if you will, to blow back into town and signify her and go after her? Okay, it's easy to say that since she put him back into the Institute and she was the one that got away, there's a reason for him to come back to town after her. But initially, the first time, why did he choose her? There's got to be some method to that madness, but there was none. Okay, and that's just ever growing and makes it so much more scary, if you will, to know that, not to use the Joker adaptation, some people just want to see the world burn, right? And not so much burn, he just wants to see the world bleed. And, it's just really crazy to think that John Carpenter thought this up. And I'm sure, as the years have gone on and things have added to his mythos and things, and to his said creation, it may have just been simple, mass murderer, killer, crazy dude killing, slaughtering town. But as it caught wind and caught fire and started getting this cult fan base, and from a cult fan base to an actual pop fiction icon, I'm sure there's been things that John Carpenter's like, yeah, I meant to do that. Yeah, I meant to do this. But no one knows truly but him. So again, what is the method to his madness? It's this, to know that there's people out there like that, right? And how is he so supernaturally strong and able to not feel pain and or not act like he feels pain or not bleed out? These are the questions that make the original Michael Myers that much more terrifying, if you will. Now moving on to the Rob Zombie version, if you will. The Nurture. A lot can be said, and I know there's a lot of hate out for this reboot. And honestly, parts of me understand and parts of me don't understand. Rob Zombie's a very unique director, and he does so many things right, and he just, there's a few things that he does that just kind of bug me in all of his movies. He feels that everything has to be F-bombs and gore and redneck trailer trash. Not everything has to be presumed in that way to be evil. But, again, he may be writing from what he knows or what he's experienced in his life and directing, how he's felt in those situations. So I really can't knock that. But again, went from this suburban home, if you will, which makes it scarier, when you're seemingly given everything that you could ever want. How do you just snap like that, and what's really strange is in real life, a lot of the people that do these crazy mass shootings and things like that are generally well off or come from nice upper class families or upper mid class families, if you will, and they're just deprived of love and fed all these, medications and things like that just screw them up in the head, and they do these terrible things like shoot up in public neighborhoods and things to that nature. So it just, something snaps in people, and like Joker always said, one bad day, right? So that brings us to, again, Rob Zombie's. It wasn't just one day, it was multiple days. It was almost his entire life of sheer and utter madness, especially since his stepdad got involved into the picture. Things just went to tanking. Mom is a stripper, is never home at night to cook or clean or be there for her babies because she has to work because her deadbeat boyfriend or new husband can't do it, won't do it, and this relies on being a cripple and takes out his insecurities out on her kids and out on her, okay, and making sexual advances towards his stepdaughter or his girlfriend's daughter, if you will. The dude was an utter maniac in onto himself. And that just spread like wildfire onto Michael, if you will. And there's so much to Michael Myers, especially in that movie when he was a boy, that you almost felt sorry for him because he didn't choose to be brought up into that world. And many of us have dealt with trials and tribulations in our lives, and we pick and choose. Some of us are strong enough, and those that aren't, I don't mean it in that way. I mean, some of us are able to take a hit like that and keep trucking on through life, and then sometimes it just hits some people in just the right way to where, depression can set in or worse, if you will, become manic depressant or, again, psychotic in some ways. And it's terrible to think that, it really can just take one bad day. And imagine having that one bad day cranked up to 11 every day of your life for the past, 10, 11 years? And it's just absolutely crazy to think what kind of monster you would brew in that situation. If you're putting together a recipe, even in the movie, Loomis in that movie even said it was just the perfect storm of everything internal and external working in the same direction, okay, and just meeting in the middle. You know, it was a perfect storm of chaos that turned this poor boy into sheer madness. And I gotta say, even in that movie, some of the kills, especially early on, it's hard, and I'm gonna sound like a complete creep or monster myself here, but it's hard to feel sorry for some of the people that were killed. You know, for instance, the bullies. You know, I don't believe kids should be killed for being bullied, you know, but the kid was bullying, so he had something coming to him. Sure, Michael was excessive, but if Michael beat him up with a stick, you know, I'm sorry, man. I mean, not beat him to a bloody pulp, but you bash a bully in the head with a stick, you know, I'm sure he learns his lesson at that point in time. But again, the scene prior made us hate these boys, so the fact that he goes out and kills them, it makes us be like, okay, Michael, you get a pass for that almost. You know, you don't get a pass for killing the poor, helpless animals. That's just... But honestly, it is what it is at that point. And, you know, again, also when he's locked up in the institute, you know, when the two guys are you know, having their way with the female inmate in Michael's room and they're messing with his masks, and it's already was stated that don't touch those, that sets him off, and they're in there just antagonizing him and hitting him and smacking him and essentially raping a woman in there. And we already know he kind of doesn't, he doesn't like sex. Like, obviously people that have sex, they ends up killing them, you know, time and time again. So again, you know, those guys had it coming. It wasn't until we get to Danny Trejo's character to where you were like, I mean, he's been good to you considering all things considered, Michael. What is wrong with you? You know? But the monster in that movie is so much worse, in my opinion. He's towering. He's intimidating. He is a force to be reckoned with, even though he was a product of, you know, the nurture side, you know? He's a product of his environment. And it's just absolutely crazy to think that, you know, some people are born that way and then some people are made that way. And it's just a topic of discussion, really. I want you guys to think about that. It's like, we know hundreds of people in our lives. We've met thousands of people in our lives. And you never really know, you know, somebody, again, it could be one bad day. It could be several different bad days. Or they could have just been born that way with a chemical imbalance in their brain that causes them to snap. And it just makes you really, really wonder, you know, about nature and nurture. Again, like, anything can happen at any given time. And I'm not trying to spook or freak anybody out there, but I just thought that this would make an interesting topic. You know, if there's anyone out there that you know that's dealing with any clinical type of depression or ailment, you know, reach out to them. Be that olive branch that maybe helps them realize that things can get better so that they don't just keep diving deep into that well. And I know there's a big difference between being a psychotic killer and being depressed. But again, mental illness is mental illness to a certain degree. And if you have the ability to reach out and help somebody, maybe we should all do that. Okay? I can tell you, I've had people in my lives that have dealt with depression. And I myself, I don't understand it. It's hard for me to wrap my head around it, where I don't... In my life, I try to live to the point where I don't let anyone have too much power or control over me. And this is going to sound kind of weird, but and again, I can't understand depression, so just let me kind of grind my gears here to kind of get it across as elegant as I can. Where, you know, for instance, if someone loses everything in their lives or yeah, sure, I'd be sad that I lost my job, my wife, my dog, my car. I would be mad and sad about those things. But myself, there would come to a point where I was just, I can't do this anymore. I got to get out there and do more. You know, these people, you know, if my wife decided to up and leave me, I can't give her the power to destroy me, you know, for years to come. Like, in the here and the now, it's going to be dealt with, and then I'm going to move on. That's the way I process things, but not everybody is like me. So again, I've had a few people in my lives that have been depressed, and I've tried to be there for them, and I've tried to be sympathetic, and I've tried to give in tough love, and ultimately, my friends know that I'm there for them. But again, it's just a situation where even if you don't understand it, sometimes just being there, being an ear or a shoulder for them to cry on, is more than enough to help them out of those situations. And I guess this all just boils down to you, universe. Do you think that, let's just take it back to the movies now, nature or nurture, which one is scarier? Don't look at the movies. Just which do you think creates a worse monster? The one that you don't know nothing about, or the one that you know where he came from, so you know exactly what he's able to do. Alright, universe, let us know in the comments below, which movie did you like better? I know it's probably going to be an overwhelming originals classic, if you will, but let us know in the comments below, which do you prefer your monsters, made up of nature or made up of nurture, if you will. And guys, don't forget to smash that like button. Let it know who's boss. Honestly, that's the way we know we're doing things and going in the right direction here within Comic Universe. And also, guys, tell a friend, get a friend on board. The faster we grow, the bigger we can make this channel. And honestly, the more we want to do with you guys, we want to make this better than every other channel out there. We want to do things with our fans and our friends, if you will, and our followers, so that they have a good place to go to be themselves and nerd out with the rest of us, if you will, guys. Alright, guys, so don't forget to, again, like, share, and subscribe. Click that notification bell, be part of the notification squad. And guys, until next time, I'm CDubbs, and I'll see you in the universe. Peace.